Hello everyone. Welcome to Echoenglishpodcast. Practice present indefinite negative sentences. Each sentence is repeated 2 times. Let's start. I do not wake up late. I do not wake up late. I do not miss my breakfast. I do not miss my breakfast. I do not waste my time. I do not waste my time. I do not forget my work. I do not forget my work. I do not feel lazy today. I do not feel lazy today. I do not eat junk food. I do not eat junk food. I do not drink cold water. I do not drink cold water. I do not skip my practice. I do not skip my practice. I do not sleep during work. I do not sleep during work. I do not go out daily. I do not go out daily. I do not speak loudly. I do not speak loudly. I do not get angry easily. I do not get angry easily. I do not lie to anyone. I do not lie to anyone. I do not forget my goals. I do not forget my goals. I do not miss my class. I do not miss my class. I do not watch TV at night. I do not watch TV at night. I do not use my phone too much. I do not use my phone too much. I do not ignore my health. I do not ignore my health. I do not eat late at night. I do not eat late at night. I do not go to bed late. I do not go to bed late. I do not wake up tired. I do not wake up tired. I do not forget to practice English. I do not forget to practice English. I do not feel afraid to speak. I do not feel afraid to speak. I do not hesitate while speaking. I do not hesitate while speaking. I do not make excuses. I do not make excuses. I do not depend on others. I do not depend on others. I do not complain much. I do not complain much. I do not stop learning. I do not stop learning. I do not give up easily. I do not give up easily. I do not forget my routine. I do not forget my routine. I do not avoid hard work. I do not avoid hard work. I do not feel negative. I do not feel negative. I do not talk rudely. I do not talk rudely. I do not disrespect anyone. I do not disrespect anyone. I do not break rules. I do not break rules. I do not argue without reason. I do not argue without reason. I do not make noise. I do not make noise. I do not forget to smile. I do not forget to smile. I do not feel stressed today. I do not feel stressed today. I do not stay angry for long. I do not stay angry for long. I do not feel lonely at home. I do not feel lonely at home. I do not skip my revision. I do not skip my revision. I do not ignore my mistakes. I do not ignore my mistakes. I do not blame others. I do not blame others. I do not waste my energy. I do not waste my energy. I do not lose hope. I do not lose hope. I do not fear failure. I do not fear failure. I do not stop trying. I do not stop trying. I do not forget my lessons. I do not forget my lessons. I do not doubt myself. I do not doubt myself. I do not speak without thinking. I do not speak without thinking. I do not arrive late. I do not arrive late. I do not miss deadlines. I do not miss deadlines. I do not feel bored easily. I do not feel bored easily. I do not avoid responsibility. I do not avoid responsibility. I do not forget my duties. I do not forget my duties. I do not waste money. I do not waste money. I do not spend carelessly. I do not spend carelessly. I do not ignore advice. I do not ignore advice. I do not make false promises. I do not make false promises. I do not speak badly about others. I do not speak badly about others. I do not lose patience. I do not lose patience. I do not feel nervous now. I do not feel nervous now. I do not forget to thank others. I do not forget to thank others. I do not behave badly. I do not behave badly. I do not avoid practice. I do not avoid practice. I do not skip revision. I do not skip revision. I do not stop improving. I do not stop improving. I do not fear speaking English. I do not fear speaking English. I do not depend on luck. I do not depend on luck. I do not delay my work. I do not delay my work. I do not forget my purpose. I do not forget my purpose. I do not feel confused now. I do not feel confused now. I do not avoid challenges. I do not avoid challenges. I do not ignore opportunities. I do not ignore opportunities. I do not complain about life. I do not complain about life. I do not fear speaking in public. I do not fear speaking in public. I do not stop practicing daily. I do not stop practicing daily. I do not lose confidence. I do not lose confidence. I do not forget my strengths. I do not forget my strengths. I do not feel helpless. I do not feel helpless. I do not avoid learning English. I do not avoid learning English. I do not feel shy now. I do not feel shy now. I do not ignore improvement. I do not ignore improvement. I do not stop believing. I do not stop believing. I do not lose focus. I do not lose focus. I do not miss my practice time. I do not miss my practice time. I do not stop growing. I do not stop growing. I do not fear mistakes. I do not fear mistakes. I do not forget my confidence. I do not forget my confidence. I do not avoid speaking daily. I do not avoid speaking daily. I do not feel discouraged. I do not feel discouraged. I do not give excuses. I do not give excuses. I do not ignore discipline. I do not ignore discipline. I do not feel weak in English. I do not feel weak in English. I do not stop practicing grammar. I do not stop practicing grammar. I do not lose motivation. I do not lose motivation. I do not forget my dream. I do not forget my dream. I do not stop learning English. I do not stop learning English. I do not quit easily. I do not quit easily. That's all for today. Practice daily to improve your English. Like, share, and subscribe to Echo English Podcast. See you in the next video.